Hank Goldberg, the man of the hour, back on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Hank?
I would like to say that I'm off for the islands or something like that, but I could use a little bit of a higher payoff next time.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, the odds on the eventual Triple Crown winner, it was just, it was pretty horrible. But, Hank, let's not look past the fact that you nailed the 5, 6, 7, though.
Yeah, you know, it was a good Triple Crown for me because, you know, I did have the superfecta in the Derby. And in all due humility, I was the only handicapper on any network, any place, including the old one, to nail the Derby and the Belmont, and came out pretty much ahead. And by the way, the trifecta paid $109.50. So if you had it enough times, it was well worthwhile.
Yes.
That was for $2.
That was Hank. I got to tell you, it really was incredible to watch this race from start to finish. When Espinoza came out of the gate with American Pharoah, the way that he did you think that this was what when you saw him come out of the gate like that?
Well, at that point, it was just a question of whether he was going to make the distance. And not only did he make the distance, but he put more distance between him and the horses chasing him when he got in the mid-stretch, and he had a little bit left. And you know, when you look at horse racing and you look at individual races, and you see a horse like that who figured to be the only speed, and as I told you on the show, Todd Pletcher was going to send Materiality after him early to try to get the lead early, which he did for about the first 100 yards. And but once Pharoah took the lead and ran away with the others, it was over. And it was just a matter if he would last. And not only did he last, but as I said, he extended his lead in the stretch, and then you could see he was going to do it. And at that point, it was very exciting.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, but the concern is, how many horses have you seen take the early lead and then not last the distance? I mean, that was my concern as soon as I saw the horse take such an early lead. Were you concerned?
Well, I've seen other horses do it in races at a mile and a half, but you know, I will say this, and not to take anything away from him, but he seemed destined to do this. You know, everything went his way. For example, he had the Monsoon in the Preakness, and he's a horse that loved the slop, and his prime contenders didn't like the racetrack that day, and so he aired, basically, and won that race easily. And then when you looked at the field in the Belmont, there was no horse to challenge him. So he basically had an uncontested race to the wire. And if you'll notice, Espinoza just had to ride him. He didn't have to urge him. He just rode him home.
Well, you're already hearing the comparisons to Secretariat, Hank, because we saw five.
Forget about it.
You know what I mean? That's so. I want to give you the floor and give you for you to give the perspective on where you think American Pharoah ranks in racing history.
I think he ranks somewhere behind Affirmed and Seattle Slew and, of course, Secretariat. And remember, Secretariat went on as an older horse. He lost a couple races. Seattle Slew, I can tell you this, Seattle Slew and Affirmed were challenged. I mean, they didn't have it as easy as this horse did. And that's not to take anything away from what he did. He accomplished it. And you have to salute Baffert. You know, he is the superior trainer of our generation, and he pulled it off in his fourth try. And I'm very happy for him. But, you know, Seattle Slew was a great racehorse, and the interesting thing about him was that about a month later, they brought him out to Hollywood Park to run in the Swap Stakes, and his trainer Billy Turner was against it, but the owners insisted on it because they got a fee for taking him out there. They were giving away Seattle Slew glasses, shirts, all kinds of memorabilia, and a horse called J.O. Tobin beat him, and it didn't take away from the accomplishment, though, and nothing's going to take away from the accomplishment with this horse either. He'll run a couple of times, and then he's going to retire. And I've heard some people report that the owner would like to see, Zayat would like to see him run as a 4-year-old, but I don't think it's going to be his choice because he sold the horse to Coolmore for breeding, and Zayat, has some financial problems, and that's why he sold him.
Right.
And so it's not going to be his choice. Whatever these reporters are saying about him, he'll choose where he's going to run next, which will either be at Saratoga or at Monmouth, probably Monmouth. And then he'll probably run once more in the Breeders' Cup, and that'll be it.
Wow, that'll be great, though. I mean, everyone will be tuned into the Breeders' Cup. That's going to be awesome, Hank. I, for one, can't wait for that. Hank the Hammer Goldberg, the only man who nailed the Superfecta and the Kentucky Derby and the Trifecta and the Belmont, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. You mentioned Hollywood Park, Hank. That is where the Rich Eisen Show team cashed its ticket, thanks to you. So I ask you, what do you need, Hank? What can I get you? What can I do for you? What do you need, Hank? What do you need?
Just your respect is good enough.
Well, you've had that already. Hank, you've had that for years. So that's already...
Well, it's a mutual respect. But I got to tell you something, Rich.
Yeah.
I spotted this horse long before the Derby, actually. I saw that horse run a couple of times. I saw him run out west, and then I saw him come back, and he should be the athlete of the year. I mean, he just is magnificent. You could see it in the way he had his stride. He was just really comfortable, and he was so fast, and you could see it. I could see it in him when he ran at Oaklawn. And Baffert said that he was the best of the horses he had in his stable, and he was correct. And there was a pretty good field of 3-year-olds this year, and he beat them all.
Well, Hank, thanks again. So many of our I know you're not on Twitter, unless you are, and I didn't know that.
I am now. I have a Twitter account now.
What is it, Hank?
I don't know. I don't operate it myself.
Well, we'll find out what it is. I think it's at Hank Goldberg 640. Is that what it is? I don't know what. I think.
Yeah, that could be it. Yes.
Okay, because so many people want to tweet you, Hank. Thanks. There's so many people who listen and watch this show who are richer, no matter how much, if it's a couple of bucks or more than that, thanks to listening to you. So you are the man.
I deserve a Presidential Medal of Freedom, but other than that,
okay.
I'm not
short of that.
any big deal.
Short of that, we'll buy you a meal when we see you next, okay, Hank?
Oh, that would be the best. And, you got to bring your bride. I remember when I worked with her every week at trying to handicap football, we did okay.
I know. Susie's waiting for more of the stone crabs. That's what she says. That's what she says. So you're the man. Right. You're the man, Hank.
Hey, all the best. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to the football season.
Me too. That's Hank Goldberg, the Hammer.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.